Boom. Well, cool. Thanks for joining us, Dave. In Dave, you're a Summit Circle member, and you've been for a long time because I know we just did that. So that's cool. You really uh, supporting this program, and here's a picture of one of our merit badge clinics that we do to. Just in the Seattle territory, hundreds of kids attend each year. I think we did the last one at University Presbyterian Church, where you're involved in scouting there. So, and
Mhm.
a lot of those Friends of Scouting gifts really go on to help our camps there. So you see that climbing tower at um, Camp Edward there. And those camps, there's a reasonable fee that's charged for those, and they're amazing experiences, especially young people of confidence building to climb to that top of the tower, ring the bell for the first time in their life, and that sort of sets them on a journey for setting goals and making accomplishments there. So, anyway, thanks for showing up for the kickoff for Family Friends of Scouting. Dave, are you going to be one of the coordinators for Troop 167 or?
I don't think so. Uh,
Okay.
it's it's typically been run by our committee chair, um, or perhaps a designated representative. I just started texting our committee chair first off to get the official date, and he hasn't gotten back to me on that yet. But because he wanted to know, it sounded like maybe you wanted to drop by possibly for the FOS kickoffs for troops. Did I hear that right?
Yep. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're recording this here too, so we can
Mhm.
share this around, get the information out sort of beyond this roundtable breakout and everything. So, let's see here. Oh, think there it is. Okay. Now we should be able to give me here we are. Um, So John's on the call here too. He's one of the resource folks for mainly serving the Duwamish district. I mostly serve the folks North Seattle and the Aurora district there. Um, Also, Rob Ketcherside is our Family Friends of Scouting chairperson, so he'll be a resource helping people out. We've also got a group of folks. That we can call on if a local unit, if there's not the right person in your Packer troop to do the presentation. We've got some folks, myself and John included in that group there, that can come out and make the presentation. So we can help with some phone calls and get the right person out there that's a good public speaker, not afraid to ask other folks to support scouting there. Um, Sort of related, but aside, we do have a Friends of Scouting breakfast that the Seattle territory puts on. That's going to be February 4th. It's going to be at Fremont Studios. We've got the CEO of McKinstry as our keynote speaker. We're going to be recognizing We Heart Seattle at that event. So that's a table host, brings a table of 10. We got a lot of sponsors and supporters from the real estate development, construction, building materials industry, sort of around that. There's a lot of people in scouting that are in that industry. So we've made some really good connections there, and they're also supporting scouting there. So they're on our breakfast committee. And some of those folks are really good presenters that we pull in for the Family Friends of Scouting presentations. So, hey, we've got some goal achievers um, in our 2025 campaign on here. Dave, you'll be proud that PAC 167, Troop 167, and 8167 are on the list there, as you see, as well as quite a few other units. Um, for our Cub Scout packs, the incentive when you make your goal is a Cub Scout Pinewood Derby kit for every Scout in the Cub Scout pack. And then the troop incentive is actually pretty sweet, and that is going to be rank advancement patches or merit badges that are earned. And it's from the time you make your goal in 2026 until December 31 of 2026. So the cool thing about that is the earlier on you get your presentation on the books and you make your goal, the longer you have earned the incentive for. So that's a good reason. I've got a lot of troops that sort of reach out to me and get that on the books. If they have a court of honor um, in December, then we can start the 2026 campaigns now, which is cool. We don't have to wait till January 1. So let's see here. Um, the cool thing is probably outside of churches, I think that Scouting America has the most support from our families. On average, 27% of the families that are enrolled in a scouting program in Seattle make a gift to Friends of Scouting, and it's usually a pretty significant gift there. So you can see on the list, hey, Wes, let's see. Um, we've got PACs giving, 51% of their families giving. I think there's a troop on here that's pretty close to 100% of the families giving there. But you can see, some averages there for the PACs or PACs and troops that do a real good job getting up to 50% of their families. So that's pretty awesome. I think most nonprofits in our area would kill for a percentage of their members contributing there. So that's pretty exciting. So anything we can do to continue growing that percentage year after year really helps there. Welcome, Wes. And
Hello.
by the way, I started recording this. We're going to put this in the can because there's some folks that aren't able to be here that I'm going to share this out with here too. So um, let's see here. Uh, like I was saying, schedule your date, get it on the calendar between now and March 31 of this year. And in, ideal world, if the best meeting to do it happens to be your blue and gold, and that's going to be in April, then that's fine too. Just an ideal world, especially for troops, that incentive. The earlier you get it done in the year, the better there. So good meetings to do it. We love to have eyeballs on people and everything. So a Zoom meeting could work to do this, and I've certainly done quite a few of these. And we made our Friends of Scouting Goal doing a lot of these during the pandemic over Zoom, but in person works a little bit better. But meeting like a blue and gold, parent committee meeting, troop court of honor. Works really well. There's some other meetings that might work, but any meeting that you're going to get a majority of the scouts, parents, guardians there is going to really help us get a high percentage of folks giving there. Um, anyway, I just want to thank Troop 325. They already put uh, their Friends of Scouting presentation on the books for November 17 and Troop 284 December 15th. So we've already got a couple on the books here even before we really started asking there. Let's see, a couple of things to do prior to the presentation. It sort of really boils down to two things. We've got a little bit longer list on the resources section of our website for Friends of Scouting, but send everyone a note that with the date and highlight, one or two things that your troop really or your pack really benefits from. And a lot of times, it really comes down to a little bit more of a personal story of a young person that achieved in scouting because of an experience they had at one of our camps. It's usually what people come up with. But I like when people can come up with a brief make that introduction and state those things that Friends of Scouting and how it's benefiting a local scout and benefiting their local unit there. So make sure people know the date there. And I always like to try and line up a couple of people. If I were to go out to Troop 167, Dave, I'd ask you, hey, or at Pack 850 West, I'd ask you, hey, when I make the ask during my presentation, please hold up your card first. And because folks are going to be looking to the Cub Master, the committee chairperson, the folks that they know and trust in their local unit to um, hold up that card. And everybody, as soon as you do that, everybody else will follow. So if we can get three, four, five people primed and say, yeah, as soon as we make that ask, hold your card up there. That makes a big difference. And if you can, actually show it with the paper pledge card, holding that up, it's all out of focus, of course, but uh, my little background filters on. Anyway, hold that up. And even though we do, and I'll go through the options of how to do electronic gifts. A lot of people do those gifts electronically, which is really nice. It saves our staff a lot of data entry, and it makes tallying everything up to see how close we are to the goal at that presentation really easy. So those are two things I try to get set ahead of time. When is it? Some benefits of being involved, and having a couple of people that are going to make those lead gifts there so everybody else can follow. At the presentation, introduce the presenter. The presenter can be someone from your local unit that's a good public speaker that believes in scouting and is also going to make a contribution to Friends of Scouting. We can also, John and Rob Ketcherside and I, we've got a list of people that are good public speakers. If we're double booked and stuff like that, they can come out and make a really good 10-minute presentation, ask everybody for a gift. Um, Introduce the speaker. Again, mention maybe a slightly different story, but something that makes your scouting unit awesome, or a scout in your unit maybe benefited from a scholarship and is now involved in scouting and really growing because they got a scholarship to join scouting from the council there. So mention a benefit of Friends of Scouting. Um, um, at the ask, hold up your pledge card first for so everybody else can follow during the presentation. And then this is where things get tricky. I remember I was at a Cub Scout pack and they had the guy making ice cream with uh, the tank of what is the gas that freezes
Liquid
everything?
nitrogen, probably.
Yeah, yeah, liquid nitrogen. And the guy was all ready to go and everything. And I made the ask, and it's like, okay, everybody hold up their gift. I'll come around and collect those. And then the Cub Master came right up and said, all right, cool. Thanks, John, for being out here. We're making ice cream now. And the kids are like, woo. So hold off on that and give everybody a chance to put their fingers to the phone. During the ask to, because there's a way that you can make online gifts right there at the presentation, and give everybody a minute or two of quiet to fill those out and get their pledge card turned in or electronically. So, um, just a little reminder if Friends of Scouting helps. I mean, we are right now, I'm sort of going through the process. There's some initiated applications. I'm just reaching out to some of those families and asking, hey, it looks like you started the application, but maybe you didn't push it all the way through, or you've got some more questions, or can we help out with a scholarship if necessary, if the fees, sort of threw up a roadblock there. So keep in mind that we do offer scholarships for families to join Scouts, and that's something that your Friends of Scouting gift helps fund there. We've got all of our awesome camps, and those are kept in just amazing world-class condition. I love to tell the stories. We bought a couple of years ago new sailboats at Camp Parsons because I'm a sailor and I sort of realized how expensive those are, but I bought some really cool ones. And all of our camps have some really world-class things about them, and all that takes money. All right. And then we've also got staff at our camp. We've got staff at our office. We've got 50 people on staff year round. That swells to over 200 during the summer when we're operating our summer camps. So we've got a really awesome staff, not just John and me, but there's a whole group of registrars, people helping you with camp registrations, all of our camp staff, the folks working in the trading post are all on our staff. Your Friends of Scouting Gift helps pay to um, really help you deliver the scouting program to families in your neighborhood. So, um, and then the other cool thing that's happening in our community at places like Solid Ground, Boys and Girls Club here in South Seattle, just every transitional housing program just about in the greater Seattle area is we have a program called Scout Reach, and it's our outreach program. They're doing a Cub Scout program with a couple of staff members, and they're building Pinewood Derby cars. They're lighting off rockets. They're learning first aid, all the same things that Cub Scouts, and it looks exactly like a Cub Scout meeting at Pack 850. I mean, it's awesome. Kids are eating s'mores for the first time and stuff like that. So your Friends of Scouting Gift is helping people in a transitional housing program that might not have the means to participate in scouting otherwise. So that's a really cool thing that we're doing there. I always like to tell a story of a scout that benefited from scouting. And this young man in the cab of the fire truck, his name's Holt Witter, involved in a troop in Magnolia. This was, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago. He was doing his Eagle Scout project. You can see a picture there with all of the other scouts, ranging from some brand new scouts up to some older ones there, and doing a service project for Discovery Park. And there was someone, it was a hot dry summer like we have here, and you can see the grass is dry and brown there, and they're doing the service project. They had some shovels there. I can't remember exactly what they're doing, but someone was lighting some firecrackers, and all of a sudden this fire started raging, and these scouts called 911, got the fire department there, but they kept the fire from spreading. And when the fire department got there, they said, you guys did a really good job keeping this fire contained until we got there. It could have really destroyed, one of our crown jewel parks here in Seattle. So that was really cool. But I paid attention to this because Holt started out as a Cub Scout because I remember working with his father as a volunteer leader. So I sort of knew him a little bit on and off all the way through scouting. Caught up with him last year. He's off at Whitman College in Vermont, and he's on ski patrol at Snow Bowl there. And so, that's pretty cool. He said he put it to use in his job a lot of the skills he learned in wilderness first aid and scouting. So I think that's a cool success story of a young person, just representative of one person did something cool for a Seattle park, not only the Eagle Project, but keeping it from getting burnt down, provided some leadership skills to some other young people. So that's what scouting's all about. So, but sort of the whole backstory is, man, we worked with his father, when keeping that Cub Scout pack going, all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of benefits. He went to Camp Parsons every year, so we've got a lot going into that there. And so there's an example, just one of the, we've got 10,000 scouts we serve in this council. That was just one of them. That's annually. I mean, over time, that's a lot of scouts that we've done. So that's a cool little story. But tell a story that everyone can relate to and in your unit and how scouting makes an impact. On the pledge cards, and we've got those on the resources section of our website. There are a couple of pieces of pie on there. And I think the important thing on the expenses side of it is we spend most of our money going right back into the program. It goes right back into staff supporting volunteers, goes right back into our staff that are supporting our camping programs. And we spend very little money sort of directly working on fundraising like this. I'm spending, 20, 30 minutes with you guys tonight worked on this PowerPoint presentation for a little bit. So I'm spending a little bit of my time on fundraising, sort of got to do that so we can then spend most of that money on program there. So I like to point that out. But there you go. A big chunk of this pie, about a third of it comes from our camping activities. A lot of it comes, we've got a good endowment, so some of it comes from investments, but grants, and then that piece of pie there, 12%, that's what we're trying to get all our families to kick in, and then our community sponsors with our fundraising breakfast to kick into Friends of Scouting there. So that's really cool that we'll be able to fund this program with some really diverse income sources there. So do mention what the goal is in the presentation. This is, I just took this slide from when we were doing Friends of Scouting on Zoom and made this up. So we set a goal for the troop, and generally we'll start with a formula, but every troop pack is different. Some have been participating in Friends of Scouting for longer periods of time, shorter periods of time. Some units are new, some are long tenured, some are from more and less affluent neighborhoods. So we don't do a one size fits all, but we usually start with something like if we go back to this slice of pie and we divide all of our expenses by the 10,000 enrolled youth, it costs $240 per scout a year. So usually when I'm making an ask for Friends of Scouting gift, I just mention that number. Because it sort of makes sense. Hey, you're kicking in enough to support one scout. Between our scout reach programs, our camps, we spend quite a bit of money on each scout to keep scouting going. So work with John and Rob and I, and we will come up with a goal that makes sense. We'll look at the history of giving. If you do really good and blow away your goal one year, we're not going to penalize you the next year by raising that goal over an amazing amount one year. But we usually start at half of the families giving at the support one scout for 1 year level, but we can then tweak the goal from there. So it's never one size fits all on the goal. Yeah, but do announce the goal and the incentives during the presentation. My PowerPoint's catching up with me. And then I mentioned the Summit Circle. We've got hundreds of our families are members of what's called the Summit Circle. It's our perpetual giving program, starting at $20 per month, makes up a Summit Circle gift. And there's options for 20, 25, $40 a month or more. And that's cool because if someone's at the presentation 1 year and they start supporting in the Summit Circle and they're not there the next year for when we do the Friends of Scouting presentation, their gift keeps going into perpetuity until they ask to stop the gift or change their gift there. So that's certainly something we can do, but it keeps going on. And you'll see when we hand out the history of giving, a lot of folks will be starting their campaign with money already in the bank from Friends of Scouting Summit Circle giving. Of course, folks can make a one-time gift as well too of any amount. And I always mention that, think about giving around the support one scout for 1 year level. Maybe you can support 2, 4, or 10 scouts a year. Maybe you can make a smaller gift too, but every gift that's made is important and can make a meaningful difference to our scouting program. So sort of opens up the program. And of course, we want as many people giving as possible and get that percentage up over that 28% of families giving. If we can get to 29, 30, 35%, that would be awesome. So, we'll on the resources section of, oh, I didn't change that slide. It's now scoutingseattle.org. Um, anyway, but it's donate and donate now. You can find the QR code for your unit, so your unit will get credit towards its goal there. And then, of course, we can print the QR code right on the flyers or the pledge card flyer when we come out and do the presentation. So, and you can put it up on a slide, however it works. You can follow up with that same information in the newsletter. And there's some follow-up stuff in the resources section too that I'll get to. So anyway, do make an ask, tell people what the goal is, and then give people a minute of quiet to scan the QR code, get it in, ask people to do it right then and there instead of taking the flyer home, putting it on their coffee table and getting it covered up with magazines and maybe getting to it never. Just do it while you're thinking about it. Um, this is just an example of what our giving website looks like here. So here's for Troop 123, just mentions the things, and then it gives you an option of doing a one-time gift or a recurring Summit Circle gift. So, oh, by the way, I should mention on the Summit Circle gifts, you don't need to necessarily renew that every year. It just keeps going into perpetuity, but you can always cancel or change it at any time there. Um, this is sort of a little bit after the fact, but it's good to mention during the presentation. Employers will match gifts. There's a list of the top employers that will match gifts in the Seattle area. Um, folks just make a gift to the Scouting America Chief Seattle Council, and then they go to their employer's employee benefits website, push some buttons there. Usually winds up going to, there's a website that manages all that. John, what is it called? I'm having a blank. Anyway, Benevity, that's what it's called, Benevity. Uh, manages a lot of these. Some have their own sort of bespoke website, but there's it's usually benevity.microsoft.com or something like that, and go on there and it'll push a couple of buttons, and you've boom matched your gift there. So that really helps out getting a lot of support for our scouting program locally. After the presentation, remind people to do their matching gift. This is all stuff that can go in the newsletter. There's also volunteer time match giving. That's not part of your Friends a scouting goal, but there's a separate incentive there where we give you some money to spend at the scout shop or in our camps and stuff like that. That's basically the Microsoft or Boeing makes a gift to Chief Seattle Council, and we give your local unit the most we can as an incentive for giving there that the tax law will allow us to do there. So definitely take advantage of the volunteer time match gift. I know, Wes, you have a volunteer that's part of Gates Foundation, and I think they triple match a Friends of Scouting gift too, as well
He's
as to.
he's moved on to Troop 348,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
that's right. Darn. Well, we still have him around, Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
get a little bit from Boeing though. We
Yeah.
get that match from Boeing.
Yeah. Um, contact sort of everybody, but if folks didn't make a gift at the presentation, but families that weren't there, um, we've got some resources so you can put in an email or in your newsletter or however you communicate with your families there to invite people to make a Friends of Scouting gift, even though they may not have been at the presentation there. And then sort of keep going until the goal's made. John and I can give you some resources of who's given in the past. It's always good at, not only just the families that currently enroll, but a lot of us have quite a few alumni that continue giving. I know my mom, I was in Scouts. Let me think about this. I was be uh, 30 years ago, right? But she still makes her friends a scouting gift each year. So um, that's a good example of an alumni that keeps giving there. So, but keep at it till the goal is made. I think if you do a good presentation, give everybody a chance to make a gift, give people, that little warning ahead of time and everything. It's not so painful. Encourage them to make a Summit Circle gift. I think everybody that sort of does those basic things makes the goal, but keep going till the goal's made. Hopefully we don't drag this out forever. So, uh, you're going to get some follow up from me and John and Rob too. We'll work with you on your unit goal. We'll give you a list of giving history so you can make sure that you can look at that and see, okay, who are the people that have been giving, the last couple of years. Oh, Dave Taflin has. We're going to talk to Dave, and he's going to hold his card up, right when we make the ask there. And so those folks that are, the leaders, we're going to make sure that they are at the presentation and doing that. So give you who your Summit Circle gifts are, so you sort of know how much you're already sort of going towards your goal right off the bat there. If you've got some history of Summit Circle giving there, so that counts towards your goal right off the bat there. There is a resource section on at scoutingseattle.org. It's going to have uh, printable pledge cards. It's going to have your bespoke URL for giving for, PAC 850, Troop 167, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to have some letters to send out to families ahead of time, some letters to follow up with families, resources for employer matching gifts and all that stuff there. It's all there. All right. That was quick and easy. Any questions on making this as easy as possible, or what do you need from John and I to get going here?
Yeah, so who are you going to be contacting to communicate our troops' goal?
We'll start with the unit's chairperson. And
Okay,
then
good.
in some cases, we already know that they've delegated that to somebody to be a unit coordinator. So I know who that is, and a couple of our troops have already let me know who that is. So yep, but just time, date, location, and if you need a presenter, sort of from there. Yeah, but we'll be reaching out to the chairperson otherwise.
Okay, and if I heard correctly earlier, you, John, are interested in attending events like our December Court of Honor is where we always kick off our Friends of Scouting campaign, and you're interested in attending that and possibly talking a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, and generally the presentation, telling a little story about scouting, telling people what the goal is, uh, what the money goes to help support, and then making the ask and collecting the pledges, giving people a couple of minutes to make a gift. That all takes about 10 minutes from introduction to giving moments of awkward silence and then sort of, and then we sort of come on for about a minute and sort of later on in the program and announce, hey, woohoo, we made the goal. You guys are getting the incentive. Or, sometimes it works out um, that we are just a mere $200 from the goal. And then, of course, someone raises their hand. Oh, here. And then we make the goal there too. So,
You're pretty persuasive, John. I think we've hit our goal that night of the last 3 years,
yeah.
which is pretty great. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
everybody jumps right in and does it.
yeah. Yeah. And that's great when we have a strong track record of doing that. Because then, man, it's 10 minutes out of, you know,
Yeah.
hours and hours of scouting program, right? Then, okay, we're going to pass the plate around here, right? And it doesn't take a lot of time. It's pretty painless, and Yeah.
If only we could get our parents to do the same for popcorn, it'd be great.
Man, I'll tell you what, this popcorn thing, uh, there's we had we need to like dust off some of these secrets of because we've got had some successful pack. We had a pack there. They serve, I think, 25 families, so it's a little bit smaller than Pack 850. It's over on the other side of Shoreline, and they sold $40,000 worth of popcorn, and there were two scouts that sold the lion's share of that. And John, you've got a troop over in West Seattle. Got one kid is, I think, the number one seller in the nation, right? And I think that what is Leighton up to? He's 100 and something thousand worth of popcorn. Is that
Yeah,
right?
he's over $100,000, I think, by just a chunk of change at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still going. Yeah.
I really do think like whatever those secrets are need to be shared much more broadly because uh we struggle to do $12,000 for the pack, right?
Hmm.
And it's just one of those like when we're sitting there doing the popcorn meetings and we're talking about honestly nothing that is important to actually selling popcorn. We're talking about making a pack budget, which is important. That needs to
Yeah.
happen. However, if you want to sell popcorn and you have the number one popcorn seller, number one, two, and three popcorn sellers in the nation in West Seattle, we
Yeah.
should be talking about what they're doing and telling everybody else the exact same information.
I was
If we can't
talking.
replicate it, that's a whole different thing. But like,
Yeah.
oh my
I
gosh.
don't know if Leighton will be replicated. His dad was telling me that he was out trick or treating. And so he'd knock on the door with his costume on, and then folks would give him candy. And he said, by the way, I'm trying to raise some money to go to scout camp. Would you like to buy some scout popcorn while he's trick or
Let
treating?
me take your candy and your money too. Thank you very much.
And then his dad said, okay, as soon as he had someone interested, he's like, well, I'll sell you two of these bags for $40. And then and then they're like, well, some people figured it out, right? That one bag was
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But some people just bought two, right?
Oh
I
my
don't
gosh.
know. Whatever that means, I don't know how to police. I think it was just super motivated. He was going to do this dog sledding program at Northern Tier,
Mm,
which he's probably got to get a group of kids from the troop to also go do it, right? So they've all
right,
got to
right.
raise some money.
All
Um,
expense.
and it's, travel to Minnesota in the winter and probably have to rent a four-wheel drive car to drive,
Buy a winter
across the
coat.
state to get there too.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, he's got some goals too. I think that's the other thing is, it sort of relates to Friends of Scouting, and it's something, you know, and I'll tell this same story too when I do Friends of Scouting. Is I remember my first scout camp out. There was these older guys there, and I thought that they were really cool because they showed up with these cool backpacks, and I rolled up to them. I was like, "What's up with the cool backpacks?" It's 1980s, and I'd never seen an internal frame backpack at that point
right.
in my life, right? And there were these cool guys that had them, and I rolled up to them. It's like, "Hey, what's up with the cool backpacks?" And they're like, "Well, we just went to Philmont," and they told me about, go to one, hike to one camp, you go horseback riding, hike to another, you go fly fishing, hike to another, you get to go gold mining, it sort of goes on like that for 10 days. And, they had me at mountains of New Mexico. I'd never been to the mountains. And so I asked them, how old do you have to be? And they said 14. So it was that moment I set a goal to go to Philmont when I was 14. So I think that, um, goal setting can be pervasive throughout our life and certainly the scouting organization too. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So of course we've got goals for Friends of Scouting too, because we got to keep this amazing train on the track here.
Mhm.
Yep. All right. Anything else, Friends of Scouting, or anything in general you need from John or I?
No, nothing comes to mind.
All
That was
right.
a good presentation.
Thank you. Let's see. Stop recording.